Good morning, everybody. Hope everybody's doing fantastic. Let's make sure everything is working. Yes, I always have to double check the sound. So let's jump right in. This is the typical, usual Saturday morning session. Real fast, real quick, real dirty. Let's go. First of all, math, money, freedom. You guys know the drill. And none of this is investment advice, just edutainment. So let's go in and check out the day. So the day so far is red. We've got Bitcoin still struggling at that 50,000 level. It was up above it for quite some time. Ethereum banging on the door of 4,000. We still have a little green. Solana took, an 8-point dive, but still green for the day because it was up 15 points in this last 24 hours. BNB, Doge, you have MATIC as well, moving nicely in the green, and a couple of others. So that is the day so far, but let's talk about some of the news. First of all, are we in a crypto bubble? And a lot of people are concerned about this. A lot of people have their fingers on the trigger and ready to sell out. But this was a very interesting article from Anatoly Yakovenko, I think is his name. Basically, he described the phase of where we are in the crypto market as being real simple, the early stages of the internet when email didn't even work. Now it's been heavily adopted and embraced, and therefore no bubble. So in other news as well, money printing continues. This is from Pomp. He published this. I normally get to it first, but he got to it first. And basically, the Fed balance sheet hit an all-time high of 8.35 trillion. And does it look like it's going to slow down? No. Is it good for Bitcoin? Yes. So basically, deflation or debasement of the currency is not a good thing, but at the same time, it is very good for Bitcoin. That's why we are all very well hedged here. Now let's talk about Bitcoin itself. You can see here, it did close above the critical level of 50,000. And it's important that we stay and hang around here, but we do not fall below about 48,500 to achieve this level of support and flip it into support as we go forward. So again, very, very positive. It's struggling. It had some big bumps. It went from 46.7 to 50,000 in less than 2 days. So it's there. It's on the cusp, and there's going to be, although September is historically very bad, I believe it could be good, fingers crossed, because of all the goodness coming its way. So let's talk a little bit about Sharpe Ratios. So it was nice to see Willy Woo talking about Sharpe Ratios, and I've been talking about them for a long time. But basically, if you look at Sharpe Ratio, which is basically a risk-reward adjustment ratio for assets, you can see over the last 4 years against the top coins here in this analysis were Bitcoin, Doge, Ethereum, XRP, BNB. Basically, the lowest risk and the most reward is Bitcoin. So if you do want a very, very safe portfolio, again, according to this analysis, Bitcoin's the place to go. Now let's talk about Ethereum real quick. It is flying higher, and the question is why? It is pulling a lot of other cryptos this way too. Thank you, Marcos. But basically, there's a large amount of price appreciation. We went from $3,000 to nearly $4,000 in a very short amount of days. And it's basically largely due to the protocol changes, EIP 1559. The growth in the network is absolutely staggering, and decentralized finance is growing like crazy. And let's look at a little illustration of exactly that. So total value locked in DeFi hit an all-time new high. This is just a 30-day chart. We went from 80 billion to nearly 100 billion. That is just massive. And smart contracts are the way to go. And that's why we have a very big focus on SCPs, what I call smart contract platforms. You could dabble in storage and security and anonymity and all that type of stuff, but where I see the real money is SCPs. And it's right here. Total addressable market, 400 trillion. Now, the other thing that really happened is for the first time ever in its history, over the last 24 hours, Ethereum became deflationary. There was more burned on the network than minted over the last 24 hours. And this is way ahead of schedule. And that is a staggering element as well, just to think about. Already deflationary. I didn't expect this to happen until December or even January. But again, it might just be a one-day anomaly, but it is huge news. And that combined with the amount left on the exchanges of like 12% of supply, it's a very good sign for massive price appreciation soon. So hang on to your Ethereum. Now, in terms of this other one, I get criticized on the internet for talking about it too much, so I'm just going to leave that little picture there for a second and have a moment of silence. I'm not even going to talk about it. So, moving on. Layer 2's Chainlink. As you guys know, I'm a big Chainlink fan, and I discussed it was at an 800-day low in relation to Ethereum a few days ago. But basically, the new Layer 2 Ethereum scaling solution, Optimism, has announced that the Chainlink oracles are running live, and they're bringing in real-time feeds. So this is very big for Chainlink, and also helps Optimism build out more DeFi applications. So a big net positive for both protocols here, and Chainlink has been doing quite well over the last couple of weeks, and couple of days in fact as well. So we'll see. Now, a little bit of regulatory risk. As you know, we built a thing called the Crypto Compendium for exactly this reason, and we're beginning to allocate our portfolios away from those assets with the highest amount of regulatory risk. Uniswap is now under investigation by the SEC, but it's not all bad. Basically, according to the Wall Street Journal and other people familiar with the situation, the SEC is seeking just to obtain information about how investors use the trading platform and how it is marketed. So it's all to do with that level of decentralization. The more decentralized you are, the safer you are. The less pocket lining for the insiders, the safer you are, etc., etc. All these other metrics that we've built into our compendium. So the good news is, Gensler is looking, but it's more about an education. But they do believe maybe they could be in violation of US securities law, but commodities, banking laws as well. Who knows? A whole bunch of different things, but just to keep an eye on. And again, be careful of these types of assets. We still own Uniswap, and we like it, but in terms of how big the position is compared to other assets, very small. Now, in terms of the hit, despite the news to the actual price, Uni was not hit, which is good news. So not a big deal, or as I sometimes say, a nothing burger. So we'll monitor carefully. It takes the SEC a long time to investigate. It's not going to stop the adoption of Uniswap as we go forward. Thank you, Jaded Jedi. Let's go for one other thing. This is something that I couldn't substantiate it, but this is from DeFi India, normally a very good source. And basically, there are rumors that the Cardano DeFi testnet failed. Now, if this is the case, this would not be good. So I've been waiting for a long time to show me. I want to see speed. I want to see adoption. I want to see DEXs and dApps being built on the network. But if this is true, if anybody has a source to prove that the DeFi testnet was a success, please let me know. I'm a little bit anxious about that. Now, in terms of the Cardano chart, you can see here, despite the testnet launch for DeFi, the price went down, which is not a good omen. After such a launch, it should have gone to $3.50 instead of just down. So let's monitor this carefully, and fingers crossed Charles and the team are okay. Now, in other news as well, the importance of this whole space is... Vedic just said it did fail. Thank you for that information. Again, going back to that, because I can't stress enough the importance of my whole, again, thesis for a long time is I like platforms that work and are fast and are decentralized and all the usual stuff. And Cardano, hopefully, after their 4 years of development, will not have issues, but maybe it's just a small bug that caused it to fail. Anyway, we'll be monitoring this very carefully. In terms of Avalanche, there is an unlocking in 10 hours from now. This could put some downward pressure on the Avalanche asset. As you know, it went from $10 to $50 in a very short amount of time. But right now, it's about $47.50. And this big unlock is 22.5%. It's quite big, and that could put a lot of downward pressure. Once things are unlocked, all the insiders will dump their tokens, so we'll be monitoring this carefully. And I would love to get back in at a lower price, maybe in the 30s. Avalanche is still a great protocol. They are doing burning. The burning is not quite enough as I'd like, but still, we'll see. But you gotta always analyze for dumpage, as I call it. Very, very important. The chart itself is kind of flat, but it'll be interesting to watch this chart over the next week or so. So we'll see if the unlocking does bring about downward pressure. And I always mention wear your dancing shoes because this whole space is in flux and it's moving very, very fast. Now, in terms of another thing, CELO, whatever you want to call it, I always say don't chase, replace. I can't tell you the number of messages I got this week. Everybody watches. They sit back and they watch CoinMarketCap or whatever, and they wait for things to go up 50%, 100%, 200%, and then they say, "Oh, let's go chase this." And I'm like, "No, please, don't do that," because this is what happens. A classic case in point. I just thought I'd use this to illustrate. And again, I'm not going to analyze. I'm not going to chase things that have gone up 100%, 200% in a matter of days or 48 hours in this case. But you can see from the chart, it literally went from about $4 all the way up to $10 in 2 days. Okay. Anybody that chased this and bought at $9.50 or $10, now they're at a 50% loss. And this article just came out today. This is kind of funny. Talk about after the fact. After a 273% rally, this key indicator signaled that CELO's price was overextended. Something Sherlock. We know that. So basically, there are so many tokens out there that are witnessing these illustrious price hikes every day. Don't get sucked in. The key is to get in early and wait for them to bounce, and then consider selling and hold on to the winners, things like Solana, because they have a very bright future. So anyway, we'll see. Just be careful, everybody. Another little lesson learned. And I even have an NFT. These are NFTs. Money goes to Children's Hospital. Not for me, don't worry, but we have an NFT up there. Graphics person put together with some of my famous quotes, and that is never chase, replace. And these are on OpenSea /invest answers. So again, if we can do anything and give back, that's it. So a big thank you, everybody. Happy Saturday. Be safe this weekend, and I'll be back tomorrow for the Q&A as usual. Okay, so I'll see if there's any very, very, very quick question from the team out there. And everybody is good. Not just the DeFi part. Yep. Yeah, everybody's struggling to figure out exactly what's going on with Cardano. Anyway, be safe. Take care, everybody. Happy Saturday.